Yeah, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so this is the outline, right? First, we're gonna start with the first session today, but actually, this is the outline. This is actually what the course, our complete course, is gonna be divided. It's gonna be divided in 6 different lessons. Okay, the 6 different lessons are classroom management. Okay, class structure, instructional process. Okay, communication, class conditions, and evaluation. Okay. Now, as you notice, well, as you're going to notice after we start these sessions, all of these 6 lessons are sections in our observation class formats. Okay. So at the end, whatever we are going to observe, whatever we are going to show our teachers in our training courses, is actually what's going to be evaluated. So we're not going to evaluate something that they don't know or something that we don't know, right? Because we're actually going to know all of these concepts well. We're going to work with them. We're going to develop these ideas, okay? And everything has to be clear, okay? So we're going to start with the first lesson today that talks about classroom management, okay? So I can go on.
Okay. So we would like you to help us out reading each paragraph, please. Okay. So Stephanie, could you start with the first one?
Yes, classroom management. It refers to a wide variety of skills and techniques the teacher uses to keep students organized, orderly, focused, attentive on task, and academically productive during a class.
Okay. Lady, please.
When classroom management strategies are executed effectively, teachers minimize the behaviors that impede
Indeed.
learning for impede
Impede. We
learning
can't
for
hear you very well. Lady, can you turn your volume up?
Can you hear me now?
Can everyone hear me well? No.
Hello? Can you hear me?
I mean, for me, it's okay. I can hear
Right
her.
there, maybe. Uh-huh. Thank
Okay.
you.
When classroom management strategies are executed effectively, teachers minimize the behaviors that impede learning for both individual students and groups of students, while maximizing the behaviors that facilitate or enhance learning.
Okay. Google, can you read the next one, please?
Yes, sure. Generally speaking, effective teachers tend to display strong classroom management skills, while the hallmark of the inexperienced or less effective teacher is a disorderly classroom feel with the students who are not working or paying attention.
Okay, so do all of you agree with this? What are your thoughts? Do we have the same idea about classroom management?
Yes, in my opinion, I think if the teacher knows how to handle the group, the students behave well in class. So I think it has to do with knowing how to handle the students, knowing how to, um, I don't know, make the students, well, not make the students, but help the students that follow the instructions, that they listen to you, that you don't have to be overly constantly repeating after yourself what they have to do. Yeah, that's what I think.
Well, I think it's a general idea of what we are trying to get to. No, having an order in class, having activities done a certain specific time will keep the management of the classroom effectively because you have the students' attention. So sometimes when you get off that track or you tend to make an activity for so long, you lose that classroom management because you're not keeping that effective. Well, the class is not being as effective as it should. So I think it's just a general idea of what we are trying to get to. That's my opinion.
Exactly. Okay. Anyone else, or should we go ahead? But Manuel is
Yes, I was just highlighting like the important
highlighting.
parts, right?
Yeah.
Remember, just to like to sum up, the classroom management um, is are these variety of skills, right? That, like it says, it keeps our students organized, orderly, focused, and attentive and on task, right? In a productive way during class. And when they are used effectively, remember, we maximize the behaviors that facilitate or enhance learning, right? This is a great purpose. And well, effective teachers tend to display strong classroom management skills, while the hallmark of an experienced teacher, we're going to see a disorderly classroom filled with students who are not paying attention, right? And I think this is something we always look at classes when we observe them. Sometimes students are looking over there, looking over here, not paying attention. And this provokes that they don't learn, right? So I think we all agree on this point, right? On what classroom management is.
Okay.
Okay, let's go on with the next part.
Brenda, can you help us out with this one, please?
Hello, yes, of course. While a limited or more traditional interpretation of effective classroom management may focus largely on compliance, rules and strategies that teachers may use to make sure students are sitting in their seats, following directions, listening attentively, etc., a more encompassing, sorry, or updated view of classroom management extends to everything that teachers may do to facilitate or improve students' learning, which would include such factors as behavior, a positive attitude, behavior, a positive attitude, happy facial expressions, encouraging statements, and respectful and fair treatment of students, etc.
Thank you. Thank you, Brenda. Adriel, can you help us with the next one, please?
Sure. Environment, for example, a welcoming, well-lit classroom filled with intellectually stimulating learning materials that's organized to support specific learning activities.
Then Juanita, please.
Expectations, the quality of work that teachers expect students to produce, the ways that teachers expect students to behave toward other students, the agreements that teachers make with students.
Sean, please.
Yes, materials, the type of text, equipment, and other learning resources that teachers use.
Okay, Kenya?
Do I continue? Okay.
No, that's perfect. Thank you.
Or activities, the kind of learning experiences that teachers design to engage student interests, passions, and intellectual curiosity.
Okay. Up to here, well, up to there, we have a couple of factors, right, included in classroom management, such as behavior, environment, expectations, materials, and activities, right? But of course, this is, as Lady was saying, a general idea of what classroom management is. But it is a guide for us to understand what we must expect, right? Teachers to be able to control and to enhance, and for us to observe within practice, right? But we still have like our specific content, right? Jose Manuel, can you change the slide, please? So we have these aspects, which are the ones that we are going to be working on, okay, specifically. Manuel?
Okay, these aspects we're gonna be looking at, okay, are these 6 aspects, right? The first one, using time effectively, including starting and finishing on time, okay? Remember, we have 1 hour of classes, and this hour can become 3 hours if we actually don't plan or don't use our activities effectively, or it can become actually 20 minutes if we don't have actually skills separated on specific times, specific linked activities, okay? So I think it's very important to use time effectively, how we start, how we finish, right? And the time we give to each of the steps of the class, okay? And each activity. Number 2, attending students equally and respectfully, right? This is another point we're gonna talk about because, well, we are dealing with human relationships in this case. We notice that during classes, some teachers somehow connect with students, but some others don't, right? And this provokes other kind of behaviors inside class. And I think we should attend actually how students are treated, right? Equally and respectfully, all together. Number three, having students engaged and focused, right? This is another important aspect of having a real class, right? To having students there, right? Connected, paying attention, right? And not paying attention to something else, right? Promoting equal participation, okay? This also includes, that's why we always mention that our classes need to be dynamic, need to be interactive, right? We really need to provoke this production, right, of the language. That's why we actually need to have a purpose for them, right, to produce. Number five, stimulating critical thinking. Remember that we work in, we're trying to work with a inductive approach, okay? And we actually have to make students activate their imagination, right? We really need to make them come up to the point of what we want them to do, okay? To set out, to set a context, a real context where they can be involved, where they can be identified, and actually they can actually connect, right? Their real world with what they're seeing in class, so they can actually be productive. And we have to activate their imagination so they can actually connect with all of these ideas. That's what we're talking about. Promoting critical thinking, right? And actually, all this happens in the warm-up. We understand what happens in the warm-up. This happens here. Finally, number six, managing inappropriate behavior, right? How do we do it? How do we react in class? How do we deal with these situations when we have this kind of problems with behavior in class, right? These six topics over here, okay, we really need to check them deeply to really understand what we are expecting from our teachers, okay, and what you as trainers are going to explain our teachers, right? So they can actually get the clear and complete idea, okay? And when they are observed, or when we are observing these aspects in classes, right? Everybody has the idea of what we're looking at, and I think we won't have problems making our teachers do what they are supposed to do, okay? So this is gonna be the dynamic. We're gonna assign them already, right?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna create teams, okay? Right now we're gonna create teams because we actually want to develop these specific points, okay? And we want you to help us develop these topics, right? And present these topics to the rest of the team, right? Because I think we all have to be clear on what we're doing. And this is also a chance and an opportunity for you, right? To propose, right? To propose different aspects, different things that we can actually include during this observation, right? And to help us make these concepts as clear as possible, okay? So how is it gonna work, okay? First, is there any doubt on any of these six topics, on the meaning, on what they're talking about?
No.
Okay, so we're gonna work with these six. Now, here on the next part of our, yes, of this presentation, we're gonna be working with these topics in 2 weeks, okay? We're gonna start working in 2 weeks with these topics, trying to develop these, well, yes, these ideas, right? And to get them clear so we can work on them. And well, if you want to propose any idea on how to work with it, it will be better. But this is how we're gonna do it, okay? This week from Tuesday to Thursday, okay, we're gonna be presenting 2 of these topics, okay? Who are going to present these topics? You are going to present these topics, okay? You're going to present them right? We're gonna make teams, pairs, right? I think we're gonna make pairs. How many are we? 12.
12.
Okay, so we're gonna make pairs. We actually have the first topic. Tomorrow is Tuesday, 16th, right? And the first topic that's gonna be presented tomorrow is gonna be using time effectively, including starting and finishing on time. Okay, and the second topic, attending students equally and respectfully, right? This has to do with classroom management. On Wednesday, we're gonna present having students engaged and focused and promoting equal participation. And on Thursday, stimulating critical thinking and managing inappropriate behavior. Now, each of these topics are gonna be presented by each of the teams, okay? So right now, I think it's a good thing to create teams in this moment. Yes. Now, how are we gonna do it? Well, that depends. I want everybody to write a color in the chat of Zoom, please. Write a color, the color you prefer. Just write it. Your favorite color, maybe. Not your favorite, but any color. Can you write it in the chat of Zoom, please?
Directed to you or to all of us?
To all of us.
Okay.
Purple, black, green, red.
Are we coordinators doing it too?
No. Okay, let's first, Mr. Arnold. Andromeda said purple. And then Coach Sean said purple too. Okay, we have the first team. Erika Daniela said black. Daniel Hernandez said black. We had the second team. Right? Green. Adriel said green. And no more green. Okay, we have blue, 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 and royal blue. Okay, we're gonna join the blues together. Lady Gutierrez, you're gonna work with, but it was Danny Reyes. Lady Gutierrez, you're gonna work with Juanita, yes. And red, purple, black, purple, yellow. Okay, I think we have no more pairs. So let's just leave it like this. Brenda, you're gonna work with Patricia Henkel. Hugo Spencer, you're gonna work with Stephanie Flores. I think we're missing Adriel. Okay, just to check, how are the teams?
I'm with Lady.
So the first one you said Alondra
Patricia and Brenda.
Patricia, Brenda, who else?
Kenya and
I think was gonna,
Sean.
yes, Sean or
Sean. You prefer Sean, right?
oh,
Yes.
Alondra with?
Have a pair.
with
Yes.
Adriel. No.
No, I think I said.
I don't have a pair.
Lady?
No.
No, Lady with Juanita, Alondra with.
She's saying she doesn't have a pair, so probably she
Okay,
has
so it's
to go
gonna
with,
be Adriel.
yes.
And then?
Teacher Erika, Daniela, and me, Daniel Hernandez.
Okay.
Daniela and Daniel. Look at that.
Spencer and Stephanie.
Who?
Spencer and Stephanie. Both with S. Woohoo.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 19, 11, 12. So here we are. It's complete, right?
Yes.
So these are our teams 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? So these are our teams right now, okay? So this is how, I'm sorry, this is how we're gonna be working, okay? And well, I'm sorry, but I think we're gonna leave the numbers like this. What do you think?
It's okay.
What can we do, right? I don't know how to spell Wednesday. Okay, this is how we're gonna do it. Yes? Okay? So, team number 1 and number 2 are gonna present Tuesday. Team number 3 and number 4 are gonna present Wednesday. Team number 5 and number 6 are gonna present Thursday, okay? What are you presenting? This is what you're going to present, okay? So maybe you can write down your topics. Yep.
So Lady and myself, we are presenting using time effectively, including starting and focusing and finishing on time.
Exactly.
Or only that, or also attending students equally?
Not only that, because attending students equally is gonna be presented by
Patricia.
And Brenda.
Patricia and Brenda, right?
All right.
Kenny and Sean are gonna present having students engage and focus, and Alondra and Adriel are going to present promoting equal participation. And finally, on Thursday, Daniela, the Danis are gonna present stimulating critical thinking, and Stephanie and Spencer are presenting managing inappropriate behavior, okay? We actually expect to see very short presentations, right? A very short presentation where you can actually show us, highlight, well, yes, the main parts of this activities during the class, right? Okay, how are we going to use our time effectively, including starting and finishing on time, right? How can we actually time our activities? How do we stand as students equally and respectfully, etc., right? But we expect actually to have 2 short presentations on our sessions. And I mentioned short because they have to be like brief and short, but they have to be very explicit, right? And we're gonna have a chance to actually comment, right? Suggest any other idea. But at the end, we have to have these concepts clear enough, okay? And also to let you know that these this class, these concepts, these activities we're gonna do are the same activities that are going to be done, that are gonna be shown in our normal training sessions with our teachers, okay? So the point here is that for us to really manage the topics well, understand what we're doing here, how we're trying to actually get these ideas, and this is the same thing we're gonna work with our teachers, okay? So I think this is an important part. Actually, all of these sessions are gonna be downloaded and they're gonna be uploaded to a YouTube channel. They're always going to be available. I mean, these sessions are gonna be available there, so you can go back, so you can check details, and also for our teachers to have this information clearer. But this is exactly what we're gonna be working on, the real sessions with our teachers, okay? Do you have any doubts about how we're gonna present these topics tomorrow, starting tomorrow?
Yeah, me.
Yep.
So is it going to be like as if we were already giving the training to the other teachers?
Exactly. Yes, you're actually gonna present,
etc.
yes, you're gonna present these topics to us.
Okay.
Right? And we're gonna have a chance like to comment, to give suggestions, right? To give a feedback on the topic, to add something if it's necessary, right? And with all of these compliments, right? You're gonna take this activity and you're gonna do exactly the same in your training sessions, right? We're gonna present the topics, talk about them, assign the topics to different teachers, and the teachers have to actually present to do the exact dynamic we're doing right now here in our sessions, right? Okay, so this is a point like to have it all clear, and you're gonna see how everything is linked. But these are the 6 topics we're going to present from starting tomorrow. Okay? Any other doubts, questions, traumas?
Me.
Yes.
How long does it have to be, the presentation? How long is it going to be?
Let's calculate 25 minutes. 20?
You tell me.
20 minutes maybe?
20. Okay. So the lady and myself, we're going to divide it like 10 and 10. More or less.
Exactly, right? Like places like this. And let's try to really sum up everything, right? To have like clear concepts, clear instruction about these things, right? And to not extend ourselves each other. But I think we can do it in a very good way. I think 20 minutes is okay, right? And have the rest 20 minutes to check details, feedback, comments, etc. Okay. Any other doubts about
For
this?
example, in our case that it was used time effectively, does it have to be focused on the class, or can it be like a generalized idea of how you can use time effectively as a person, no? And then focus on the class, or what, or how can we present this?
No, I think we're talking, well, maybe.
Because sometimes people do not use their time effectively in their life, and this affects also the time
Yeah,
of giving class.
and it's affect their classes.
So
Yes, you're correct.
I think we can like come up with a general idea how you can use your time effectively, you know, during the day, and then, you know, try to produce that in class, because sometimes they don't have count of their time, and they say, I don't know when 10 minutes went by, or I don't know when 5 minutes went by.
Exactly. Well, that could be an extra point. The main point is to work with the timing we give to our activities in class, right? How to start on time, how to finish on time, and how to divide our activities so they can actually be short, they can be productive, and they can also be linked, right?
Okay.
In a good way. But yes, I mean, if you want to include something with it, it could be okay, although it would be like an extra. The main point of the topic is actually managing time in class, right?
Okay.
Yes. Okay, any other doubt? Okay. So this is what we're going to be presenting, okay? And we really wanted you to do it because, like I told you, I think it's going to be awesome if we all collaborate, if we all add our own ideas, if we all work with the topics, if we all propose different approaches, right? And it's going to be a good feedback here in the sessions, okay? So this is what's going to happen Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Got it? Very good. Then it says Manuel Empati 2 plus 2 team members. I don't get this, but well, we'll check.
No, it's just
The
who we're
person.
going to participate giving. This
Excellent.
is for you. I mean, you and I, and then the rest of the team, right? We'll be working on these topics. I would just like to add that we must keep in mind that we don't all think the same way, right? Like if we did, it weren't necessary. I mean, this training course wouldn't be necessary, right? So my point is, remember that we can't just tell people start on time, finish on time, and manage your time effectively. That doesn't mean anything to many people, you know? So that's the point. Like, you have experienced giving this training course. In fact, now we want to hear from you, right? But my point is to take all that experience that you've had with them and see how we can really convince them why it is necessary, more than it being just a rule and that's it, and which must be followed, you know? So that's the idea, okay?
Okay.
Manuel, so, well, I don't know if we're going to the next part where the trainers are sharing experiences with the teachers, or do you want to go through the whole presentation today?
No, we should stop here, right?
Yes.
Because
Now
we
we
have
can
this
leave it
part
there.
of it.
So we can
Yes.
start hearing from your experiences, because you were training for like 2 months, I guess. No, a month and a half, 2 months.
More or
Yeah.
less.
And we would like to know what kind of situations you encountered, what was well done, what wasn't that well done, or what we should have done better, maybe, you know, like all the input you can give us about your experience teaching our teachers.
Can I start?
Yes, of course.
I generally think that the fact that this was like a new way of teaching for everybody has become kind of like a challenge. but also our way of thinking has also been like an obstacle, okay? Some of us have not want to change our way of thinking or have become very accommodated to what we used to do before pandemic, you know? And letting go of those habits has become difficult for many, okay? Because I think more than just looking at it like a way of I'm going to teach, it's a little bit more than that. It's who you are. It's the person itself. So we are transmitting through it's virtual, but we are transmitting what we are. So if people are close to new ideas and are like they're not open to what's going on, it's quite difficult because they think that you're trying to be military. They think that I've heard from my coworkers like, okay, so why don't you just tell me what I'm supposed to do, how I'm supposed to do it, and give me the direction, and that's it. Why are we supposed to just have all these training sessions, you know? So they do not get the idea that it's a change of mind, not a thing of just putting ourselves here in the screen and giving a class. No, it's a change of mindset. It's all of that we have been kind of carrying with so many years, and that we have to evolve. That's it. You know, it's evolution. But a lot of us are not accepting that because we are kind of stuck in the past. We like the past. We like the way that our lives were in the past. So this is more emotional in a way. It becomes like a whole, I don't know, like a whole nucleus. It's emotional. It's mindset. It's a lot of things. So one of the ways that I have managed to get over this, it's obviously coaching. I have seen coaching videos. I have, how to deal with this change, because it was not easy for me either. I wasn't used to using a computer most of the time, and so many things. And I wasn't used to being at home for so long, so many hours. But I got the benefit of all of this, and I changed my mindset. So I think that's the problem that I've seen with all our coworkers. It's that mindset issue, and because it's not about if I am if it's not about my character, if I'm shy or if I'm a serious person. No, it's not about that. I think it's just about the mindset issue, and that's what I experienced during these 2 months. I think it's just a necessity that we have nowadays.
Okay, thank you.
Can I say something about that? Remember that as teachers, we don't only teach the language, but we teach the culture behind the language. And we know that Mexicans don't speak Spanish. We don't speak English. British and Americans and Canadians and other people, right? But so we're not only teaching coaches how to teach, but we're going to teach them culture, how to be leaders, how to take that on and transmit that to our students. Because even though this is plastic, it provokes emotions to our students. They can either love us or hate us, and I rather them love us than hate us, because when they hate us, they don't want us. They want that other teacher they fell in love with.
Juanita is raising the hand.
Thanks, Isaac. Juanita, please.
Well, my personal experience with the teachers, I would say most of them were willing to take the course, but there were some that were not happy. I'm saying this because of their comments. For example, whenever they were absent in a training session, I always asked them to write a report. And many times the teachers would say, I find these activities not useful, or I feel this is a waste of time, or things that I already knew. I'm not learning anything, or these type of expressions, right? Like another one teacher even said, I feel that I have no need to be listening to all of these nonsense. He said, so a lot feel that they do not need any help, like they already are good teachers, so they don't see it as a beneficial for them, like they're learning, that they're not willing. I think it has to do with what lady already mentioned, right? So they are not open to accept that we all can improve, that we all can learn, even if someone didn't do a certain activity right, we can learn from that. We can learn what we shouldn't be doing, you know? So I think I always write back to my students, to the teachers, I'm sorry, and I tell them, we can always learn from each other. If you do not see that, we have a problem there. We can learn even from the mistakes of other people. And I think some are very critical of the presentations. Some were very critical in their comments when they wrote. But in general, I think most participated, but there were others that had the cameras off. I could tell they were not paying attention. They were not paying attention. They were just there, but not paying attention, not participating, not saying anything. I will have to call on them and say, "What do you think?" So and so. Say, yeah, what? Yeah. So obviously that person was not paying attention, right? And regarding the warm up, I think a lot of teachers did not get the point whenever they did the warm up presentations. I mean, because they have an idea of what a warm up should be, but I think we want to communicate to them what their make idea is, what we want them to do in the warm up. And they were reluctant to accept that way of or presenting, I'm sorry, a warm up. So in the warm-up presentation that they gave, it was lacking a lot of times all the information that we had already seen. Yes, and that I had already explained, to them. So it's like, oh my goodness. So a few of them, I think, did it the way we are expected to be doing it. So that's my experience so far.
But like, did you give them feedback?
Yes, I always give them feedback.
Correctly, it was like, no, that's not a warm up.
Yeah, but I did. But I mean, for example, one teacher actually wrote to me later on and said, "I hope you don't give me feedback in front of everybody else." And he said, "I hope you don't ask anybody else what they thought about my presentation." Because I would always say after the whatever they did was presented, I said, "What do you guys think? Give some positive feedback." I always said positive feedback because I didn't want anybody to be turning against each other. So, right, I said, and then he wrote to me and he said, "If you have any feedback, give it to me personally."
Wow.
But not in front of everybody. And I said, wow. Well, I mean, we should be willing to accept, no, when we didn't do something right. And we're not here to offend anybody or to belittle anyone. So I told him, sometimes we complain of the things that we ourselves do because this teacher in particular is ready to point fingers and say, this and this, and they don't speak English well. And look at what he did. He's so absurd. He's so childish. This is not always like that, his attitude. So I told him, sometimes you complain of things that you yourself are doing. Just criticizing, but you're not willing to be criticized.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
So that's so far that's my experience. And I don't know if I did right, but I think that's what we should be doing as a trainer. Once the teacher presents his or her presentation, say, oh, I think, for example, one teacher presented something that had lots of bad words. And I asked him, what ages do you use this video for? It was a video with bad words. But supposedly you could hear the beep, but basically the word was there. And he said, for teenagers and adults. So you should be presenting this to teenagers. I have a teenager daughter, and if I saw the teacher presenting this, I would not like it.
Of course.
Of course not. Even for adults, I don't think it would be right, And some said, oh, it's very good. Other people said, it's not good. I think majority agreed that it wasn't appropriate, the content.
Of course.
And I told him that. I think he should hear it.
Yes, of course, definitely. But we can work on that too, how to give them feedback or how we can work that out. But we'll see, depending on the experiences, I guess. Thank you, Juanita, very much. Kenya, and then Spencer, please.
Thanks. Well, something that I would like to mention about this training courses is that I learned a lot, and it also gives you an insight on what are other teachers doing. because sometimes when you are in these online classes, you feel alone. As a teacher, you feel alone because, well, nobody, you cannot go to another classroom and check what other teachers are doing that you can change from yourself. There is something that I would like to add to this training course, especially. This is one investigation one of my best teachers did. This is part of her doctorate that she did on the UK, and it is called reflective practice, which basically is invite other teachers to observe themselves in their own practice, making something that, for example, we are going to observe their classes, but make them to reflect on their own practice. What did they did that did not work, or what did they do that it worked very well, and what they can change about themselves according to those things. And when Juanita said, I believe that that is not what we expect from teachers, not neither for adults, I would say, but that is something that we are going always to encounter. So I would like to say that instead of you thinking that someone is correcting you, why don't you look at yourself as a person even to analyze what mistakes you are making? And well, that's my input.
Yes, of course. Thank you, Kenya.
I think we have two types of teachers. We have the teachers that love to teach, and that's why they are here. And then we have other teachers that don't have a job. They speak English, so they say, okay, I need a job. Well, what am I gonna do? So, and they got the job. So yes, the Ceneval has a test where you can do the licenciatura en la enseñanza through an exam. And one of the things they ask you is for a portfolio with reflections. And they ask you to record your classes and reflect on your teachings. So I think that's a great idea, Andromeda.
Yes, it is great. In fact, also students must reflect on their learning process, and that's something new that we're going to start implementing. But on both sides, right? I will reflect on my teaching process, and you will reflect on your learning process. And of course, that completes the whole learning teaching experience, right? Thank you. Okay, Spencer?
Thank you. I was going to say something like Isaac said. We have like these two types of teachers, and you can see it. Like you can see the difference between them because some of them really love in teaching. And as I was watching the classes, I observed that well, you can see the difference. You can see the teacher that prepares a class, the teacher that do what he's supposed to or she's supposed to do, and you have the other side of the coin, right? And I find out, or the teachers that I had to see, they were all from coordination B, I think. And I noticed something that the teachers who have less time, like working with us, they are more. Yes, they are more willing. Their willingness is more than the teachers who have more time working with us. Because the teachers who have more time working with us, they they also, like, I don't know how to say it. They are standing in their comfort zone. They
Yes.
found a way to teach. They think that works, and they are doing the same things that they did at the beginning. And the ones who are like recently entering, or yes, entering recently, however, they when they start like looking all of these training sessions, they were like, oh, okay, so they are giving me this so I can work, and they do it. And another thing that I would like to say, another challenge that I saw is that teachers are like, I can say like 80% of the teachers are not willing
Not willing?
to
Okay.
sorry.
Sorry, 80% are not willing?
It's because I don't know how to explain this, but something that I like to do, and I did it when I was giving these training sessions. It was like every time that someone was presenting something, I used to look around through all of the faces, right? Through all of the faces of the teachers, and some of them you can see them, like especially for those who wear glasses like me, you can see like the cell phone screen reflected on the glasses, and you can see they're not actually paying attention, right? And and just like Juanita said, like maybe I don't know, just to put an example. Okay, teacher Brenda, what was I saying? And they like they're not in the session, and you can also see that on the how do you say, on the meetings that we have on Fridays. I I I don't know how to say this, but I saw a teacher. Like I've been watching this teacher like for I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 weeks. He is always making exercise with little shorts and
Yeah.
like with shirts without how do you say it?
He's like doing yoga, isn't he?
Yes, yes. And I
Android.
mean I mean it's okay if you want to do your exercises, if you have something to do, you better do that and not enter into the meeting, because if you are doing that while you are in the meeting, you are not paying attention. You are just in the meeting, so you don't have to give us a report. You're in the meeting, so and that is something that caused me a lot of conflict, because you can see the difference once again of these two teachers: the ones who are really paying attention, the ones who are participating, the ones who are. And why should we treat the same way to these two types of teachers, right? That is what I had to add.
Wise words, wise words.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, who would like to go next?
And I
Alondra,
mentioned-
Sean.
sorry.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Juanita.
About observing classes, the classes that I observed, I think I observed 17 different teachers. And I think the ones that I can say I really enjoyed their classes were four out of the 17 teachers I observed. The main problem I think that there is that time management, like the activities last too long, or there is only one activity basically in the whole class. The whole class is just one activity. They do not have clear steps, clear stages that the student can see that there is a difference. Or the slide, the PowerPoint presentation is only one slide and it's there the whole time, right? Or maybe two slides and that's it, yeah. And for me, I told a teacher after the class, try to have more slides. At least I have, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's too many, but at least I have 20 in my classes. So I'm constantly passing, even if it's just a question, because just a change that the students see a change in the slide, a color, sound, or sizes, format, whatever, it forces them to pay attention to what you're saying. But if the teacher sees that, I mean, the students see that the 20 minutes and the same thing is there on the screen, they're not going to be interested. Yeah. So in my opinion, the main problem, I would say, or issue, I don't know how to say it, it's time management. Yes.
Can I add something to that?
Uh-huh.
It starts from our general meeting on Fridays. We do not have time management even to be in the meetings because we do not manage our time well. We don't think about, okay, if our teachers have another job, let's not log in into the meeting. Let's give our time management. Okay, I'm doing another job. I can't be at the meeting, so I'm just going to submit a report. I'm going to give myself the time to watch the recording. And I'm going to respect this general meeting. It starts from there. So most of our teachers do not respect this. If I have to wash clothes, I can't be in the meeting washing clothes. It's been happening. I've seen teachers washing clothes in the meeting. And it's kind of like, why don't you manage your time? And okay. And also, okay, you have children, you have so many. I have 2 children living with me currently. My older daughter is not here with me, but I manage my time. My children know that between 10 and 12, I can't be with them. They have to try to get their things done. And I have to wake up at 6:30 or 7 o'clock a.m., even on Fridays, to get things ready to be at the meeting at 10. That's time management. So it starts from there. So if we do not manage that time for ourselves to be in the meetings, it's almost going to be impossible to manage time in class for our classes. So I think that's something that we have to tell our coworkers or all the teachers. We understand that you have a second job. We understand that you have a third job. We understand that you have goals, you have bills to pay, but why don't you manage your time? Do not attend the general meeting if you're not going to be there. Why don't you take the time to watch the recording, do a report as you may, and then submit the report? It gives respect to Jose Manuel, to Luis, to anybody that is speaking there. You are respecting yourself and you're managing your time well. So I think from there we have a problem just from that point, because you hear it through the microphones. You hear teacher giving other classes. Maybe they are working for the government, I don't know, or for their schools. You hear moms talking to their children. Hey, wait a minute, I'm gonna give you this. You hear so many things, and then not only that, but you have cameras that are active. You have people washing, folding clothes, doing exercise, and they are in a general meeting. And you are thinking, really, like you couldn't do it before or afterwards, or so that is something that it's unacceptable to me. It is unacceptable to me because it is respect. That is what I think. So I think that is something that we should, talking about time management, it starts from there. That's what I said, that time management comes from us, within ourselves, within our daily life. That's
Perfect.
my opinion.
Perfect. And we will talk about that. In fact, we will. But I would like to hear from Alondra, from Sean, who have or were
Yes.
training, right? Also, Daniel has been training.
Stephanie.
No. Okay. Let me
Can I
hear
go first?
Sean,
Oh,
Alondra, Stephanie, and Daniel. Yes. Thank you.
yes. Yeah, you might hear my voice crack because it's so cold where I am right now. So yeah, that's why I'm like shivering and stuff. Um, yeah, with my experience with the TTC sessions, I think that they were both sides. The ones that were there like willingly, were like even excited to go to another session because they were learning so much. But there was this other side that they didn't really want to be there, and you could notice on their attitude when you asked them something, or there was this other side where they were not going, but they were sending the reports, but you could notice that they were only sending those reports just to you know to not get those 100 pesos discounted from their salary. So that was just it. Actually, I started doing this thing that Spencer did, where you said like a keyword or something in your class, trying to just to make sure that everyone was like observing the whole thing. But no one was putting that word in my report, so I could notice. You only saw like 5 minutes, then you skip forward all the 5 minutes, and you skip forward, and you just saw like 10 minutes of the whole thing. So that was it. Um, so yeah, I think one of the things that we are dealing with is that we have a lot of teachers that they're already used to their own way of working because they were teaching in this other place for 5 years, 10 years, 6 years, or whatever, and they think that's the most effective way of working. And even if it is, you know the thing that we're trying to do here is to trying to level of our teachers, so that it doesn't happen that when they get to another level they are like mad or in discomfort because the new teacher doesn't work in that way that the old teacher used to work, because I have seen that a lot where students were like even mad because they changed the teacher. So one way of avoiding that is trying to level every teacher and not to work in the same way, but be similar in their techniques and similar in the way of managing the class and everything. So yes, I think that as lady said, it's time management and also class management, and just trying to get rid of that mentality where they think, you know, I cannot learn anymore, because there's a lot of teachers that think that, you know, I have learned already everything that I need to learn to be a good teacher, so I don't need to learn anymore, you know, and that's a low mindset. So I think that's what we're dealing with.
Okay. Thank you, Sean. Alondra?
Yes, you can hear me? Yeah, okay. Very quickly. In my case, I didn't have that problem that my teachers didn't pay attention. And also the observations and comments of Cordy Susana, Cordy Zach, and Cordy Karen helped me a lot. And also maybe I'm agree with Lady because some of the teachers don't have that compromise to send the reports on time or organize their time to attend the TTC, and that's it. But that's it.
Okay, thanks, Alondra. Okay, Stephanie.
Well, basically, I have like the same problems as the other trainers, but I just want to include one more, and it's that there are some teachers, for example, that don't follow the schedule or the manuals that we are using, and they just don't care. They just don't care because when I was doing the observation process, I found out like from 14 teachers that I observed, there were like 5 teachers not using the manual. And I was saying like, and some of them were starting, some of them they were starting the classes, like the group in that week. And I take the time to send them a message, and I said like, you know what, that is not the manual that you are supposed to send to the students in the first, like in the first class that I saw on Monday. And then and I noticed because one of the teachers that I needed to observe was giving classes to my dad. And I could know that, no. And I said to him, you know what, that is not the manual that you are supposed to use. If it's possible, change it because it is the first day. And he's, oh yes. And when it comes Thursday, he didn't do it. And we were on time. I mean, we were on time. And like that, we had like a lot of more teachers, because I had like 5 teachers that did the same. I said like, no, that is not a manual. We already changed it and all of those. And they don't care. No, well, that is one thing. Another thing that it happened also, it was that some of the teachers they just don't care about the trainings, because when I do the observation process, there was one teacher that was supposed to be in training course with me, and I didn't notice. I never knew nothing about him, but when I entered to the observation process, it was there, no. And when I saw his class, of course, it was horrible, the class, no, because it didn't have all the procedure, the type of classes that we've been teaching to them, the warm up and all of that. And the class, it was horrible. All the students were like only passive, and the teacher was the one that was speaking, and all the time the students didn't say anything. And when I give him feedback, I said like, you are the teacher that you are supposed to be in my training, right? And he said, oh yes. And I said like, what happened? I mean, if you were on the training, at least you know that this is not the type of methodology that we are using. No, I don't have time. I don't have time because I have a lot of work. I need to pass time with my girlfriend. And I said, like, you can spend time with your girlfriend on weekends. At least take just one time, 1 hour in through the week. No, with your girlfriend, she can wait for you on weekend if she loves you. No, of course I didn't say that. But I said like, really, you are putting that thing in. It is more important than just follow the instructions that we are saying. So basically is that now we have teachers that they just don't care. They just don't want to follow instructions, even that I already told them. And that is like my experience with those teachers. I have other teachers that I like, the 70% of the teacher that I got from the teacher training course, they were like very compromised and very responsible, but those 30% of them were not.
Yeah, empathy. I would like to add something more. For example, teachers are not prepared to give all that kind of classes. For example, they told us something like, okay, I would like to give adults, and that's it. They get married with adults, and that's it. They are not prepared to give a different category, maybe teenagers, maybe kids, maybe preschool. They are just like, I want adults, and that's it. And maybe, I don't know if we could add that to this training course, maybe like how to teach kids, how to teach teenagers, how to motivate them, how to teach preschool, because they don't know, and and that's true. Some of teachers, some of the teachers that are in coordination A, they just want basics, like the levels are like, I want basics, and that's it, and they are not able to give intermediate or advanced. So I think that that's a problem too.
Yes, of course.
I would like to
all that will be taken into account, you know, because definitely the way things were working were like that. Like you could choose if you preferred kids or preschool, or, you know, but we do have to change that little by little. I think we first need to go through a general training, you know, to understand our methodology first, and then maybe we can start working on that part. Like, okay, now with kids, you need to work this like this, but first we need like a general understanding, I believe. But thank you. Yes, of course. And well, I guess that the level of English of some teachers might not be appropriate enough for an intermediate or advanced level. So that also has to do with it. You know, they don't feel confident enough to teach those levels. And at some point, well, I prefer them telling us than just giving or trying to give those classes, but we are going to be working on that too. Thank you. Thank you very much. And Daniel, you wanted to say something too?
Yes, I'll be brief. Regarding teacher training courses, have you ever heard this saying that doctors are the worst patients? Well, sometimes it's the same with teachers. Some teachers are the worst students because you can have like two types of teachers. Again, another two types. The type of teacher that understands that he or she will always be a student because you can always learn something new from a mentor, a senior teacher, another professionist, your peers, etc. And we have the other type of teachers who think of themselves like the epitome of language teaching or any kind of teaching. Then they say, oh, I have a degree or I have a paper and it says teacher or coach or trainer, which means so I am the number one. So I know everything that I need to know. And that's not true. So we need to understand now, and we need to learn to deal with these kind of egos, because at the end of the day, we are humans. We have our own egos. And there are ways to say, hey, I'm not saying that you are a dumb and you need to learn everything from scratch. No, I'm just saying that we as a community, we can learn together, we can improve ourselves, and maybe you can put into practice some of your knowledge. Maybe you're a little bit rusty in some things, and we can work together as a team. We are not saying that you need to, you are not up to the challenge. We're just saying that we maybe, if we do our part as trainers and student teachers, we can grow and you can perform much, much better with your students.
Of course, absolutely. Egos are very difficult to work with, you know, but yeah, we have to do it little by little. But we did want to hear like what you encountered. Am I missing anyone? Anyone else who was training and hasn't said anything? No? Okay, perfect. because we want to take all these things into account, of course, right? And we will be working with all these aspects. In fact, you will have to give us like reports about the teachers, you know, like their attitudes are really important, because if they do it in front of us, like if they behave that way, you know, in a meeting or in a training session, imagine how they can treat their students, right? I mean, they should be at their best when we are seeing them, and if they're not, imagine what they're doing, you know. But yeah, we have to work on that. In fact, the selection process is being revised, right, Manuel? Because it won't be that easy anymore to become a teacher at My English Coach, because we have
Exactly. When we started, well, when I started actually as a coordinator, I started hiring teachers in a massive way because we needed it. We actually, you notice that we opened 50 groups each week, 60 groups sometimes, and I had to hire, I needed at least 6 teachers per week. I mean, imagine that process, and most of you are here because of that. But right now is January. We have consolidated like a number of teachers, number of groups. The school has already its name on it. And January brought us also another a lack of groups. You notice that most of the groups we are opening, well, there are very few groups assigned to teachers. I think you also have groups that you lost and we never got them back because January brought this lack of new groups. And well, that had to do with two things, right? What we call la cuesta de enero in Spanish, right? Obviously affected. And because maybe our prices, right? I think the things are going up again, but right now we have already changed the process. Actually, today we're going to start the new hiring process that's going to last 2 weeks. And well, we're not actually, well, let me show you a little bit of how it is working. I think you put it here, right? Mr. Arnold Villa.
Yeah.
Yes, it's in the group. The program, the new program is there. Yeah, there you
This
go.
is a new program. We're actually, you didn't pass through all of this, right? Today we have our first session. We're going to give the information about the project. We're going to ask for resumes, and we're going to provide a psychometric test, right? To actually identify now their knowledge, their background, their personality, etc. After this, we're actually going to have a session where we're going to analyze the information, and then we're also going to call for references, right? We're going to ask for references to our teachers so we can actually have a better background of where they've been working, what they did. On Wednesday, we're going to start checking the test results. Okay, we're going to review and we're going to select our candidates that are going to give us a demo class. Before I just said, are you interested? Okay, give me a demo class, right? Well, now it's not going to be that easy. We're actually going to check who is actually giving a demo class, right? Not anyone is going to give a demo class. After that, we're going to have an interview in English to check their language knowledge. And then now they're going to give us a demo class, right? After these two big filters, then we're going to select who's actually staying. And we're going to have another week of an orientation session talking about the course, the manuals, the program. We're going to get them classes observed, right? On Tuesday, we're going to have an orientation session with Mr. Arnold talking about the daily activities, the platforms we're using. On Wednesday, they're going to give us a complete simulation of a class, right? Sending their links, opening a classroom, checking if they have assigned their categories of grades in the classroom, etc. Right? And after we have them all knowledge, they have all the knowledge. And on Thursday, I'm going to give them the last orientation talking about the system. They're going to be observing classes all week long, and we're going to confirm that they have all the information. So now it's going to be a process with 2 more or 3 filters, okay? And we're going to be checking that they already have managed all the information. They know the complete structure and the approach of classes we have. So we're actually being like super well, now we can do it, right? We can actually have a better selection process. And believe me, the teachers who actually enter MEC are going to have this preparation, this knowledge, right? So yes, we already changed the process.
Yeah, but I mean, that's really important, right? For all of us to know, And then teachers have to be evaluated, right? So that's why we're going to be observing classes, but we will also be paying attention to how they perform in the training courses and how they respond, of course, and how they respond to the meetings too, you know. And that brings me to a point, which I sadly must make today, because now we are part of the quality control team, right? So that means that we are going to be observed by everyone. And that means that we have to be the example. Okay. So I'm terribly sorry to say this, but 2 teachers from this team were not paying attention to the meeting on Friday, right? And that must not happen anymore. Okay, or that can't happen anymore. Okay, we have to pay attention. We have to manage our time, as Lady was saying, and we have to be there on time. We have to be paying attention with our cameras on. We cannot turn them off. We cannot be doing other stuff and leaving the camera with no one there. Okay, we cannot be attending children or calls or washing our clothes, whatever we've seen, you know. Of course, this teacher, Monroy, was disrespectful, I believe, very disrespectful. And well, his or her coordinator will talk to him, you know, because yeah, we shouldn't accept those things anymore. But we'll do it little by little, okay? We can't run if we haven't started crawling, you know, so. So, but we are taking notes and we are taking everything into account, right? And yeah, I believe we'll take other kind of or give other kind of responses to teachers who are not responding to us, right? Other kind of measures. And this is not to make people feel bad at all. You know, we believe that we're already here and that we have the opportunity to improve, right? So we're giving everyone, even ourselves, the opportunity to improve, to learn, you know, to have more strategies, techniques, more knowledge about what's expected from us. But after that, if you still don't want to do it, then maybe this is not the place where you should stay, you know, or work at. And other people might come and take your place. So, I mean, but it's little by little. Let's understand that first of all, right? Right, Manuel? Do you agree? So, but yeah.
Sorry,
but,
yes, I was here, but yes.
Yeah, but please take into account that we weren't presented last meeting. I don't know when Jose Manuel will introduce us to all as part of the quality control group and this and that. But please start paying attention to the meetings, you know. And yes, we have to set the example for everyone else, because there's no way you can observe me or, you know, or make comments about how I perform or how I attend training or how blah, 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 if you don't do it either, right? There's no way you can tell me anything. So please, that's part of the new responsibility we've acquired by being part of this team, okay? And the last thing I wanted to say is there's no better way of teaching than showing how to do it, right? So we would like you to include a warm-up and a wrap-up, you know, if possible, some kind of drills or follow-up activities within your presentations. I know you don't have a lot of time, but that's the best way. You know, I can't just expect you to, I'll tell you, this is a warm-up, come and give me a warm-up. No, I'll start by doing the warm-up, right? In my training sessions. So the idea is also that all our training sessions have the parts of a class, you know, the structure of a class. So at the same time, we're practicing it, you know, with them and showing them how it's done. Not only giving them like the theory and then you do the practice and then I correct you or I don't correct you. No, we have to incorporate it as much as possible, right? So
actually we can manage, I think, the 3 steps, like do a warm-up, go directly to the presentation, right? The points, and then like maybe do some drilling and do a wrap-up, right? Like these 4 steps, and we can handle them in 25 minutes. I think we can do it. And that's maybe that's also the point of what we have to be doing in class. Our activities don't have to last more than 10 minutes, actually. If we include these little activities, everything, every time it's going to be a new activity, and it's going to refresh the class. And that's how we're going to maintain our students like active, right? The different presentations. So I think in 25 minutes, these 4 steps and our presentations for this week, that will be awesome to see, right? And I think it's going to be super productive, right? And at the end, we're actually doing it. So, please. Okay, so I have a meeting. I don't know if you want to add something else. Can we sum up with something? Well, that's all.
Well, basically, we're expecting your presentation starting tomorrow, right? Try to follow the steps as much as possible. And we're not judging you. We need to practice, right? We need to practice, and we need to decide, you know, all together what MEX methodology will include, you know, for everyone to understand it the same way. Okay? That's really important. We are standardizing. You can have your own personality, but our classes will be standardized. So we keep some quality within our classes, even though your personality might be different or is different. We already know that. But if you come to a MEC class, you will see this quality, you know, so that's why we're standardizing all our procedures, including the ones from class, you know, all class activities. Okay, so that's the idea. Thank you for being here. And I have nothing else to add. Thank you. I'll see you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your commitment, your participation. See you tomorrow. We really expect nice presentations. Okay. Thank you so much. Give yourselves an applause.
Thank you.
See you around.
Thanks.